Welcome, yogis. In today's class, we're going to be focusing on being upside down, adding inversions into our flows. It is good today to have 2 blocks for this practice. So if you have 2 blocks available, then please go and grab them. We're going to start today in our child's prayer position to open up into the shoulders. So we're going to bring the blocks down whenever you are ready. The blocks are about shoulder width apart. We're going to bring the sitting bones down onto the ground. We're going to open up here by bringing the elbows onto the blocks and the hands into the back in between the shoulder blades. The hands are in a prayer position. We're just going to get a little bit of opening here into the shoulders to help us later on with our inversions. Whenever we're talking about taking inversions into our practice, often we feel some discomfort. Sometimes we have some fear for inversions. Most of the time, this fear for inversions comes from the falling out of inversions. We're worried about where we're going to go when we come out of these inversions. So while we're here, I invite you to just visualize yourself into any inversion that you are currently working on. That could be a headstand, that could be a forearm balance, or maybe you're working currently on your handstands. And while we're opening up here into our chest and into our shoulders, and visit yourself as much as you can in a visualization, upside down into your inversion. Try to see as many details of yourself as possible. It's like you're watching yourself on the television. See your breath. Become aware of the activation in your muscles. And become aware of the uprightness throughout your body. Create here in your visualization a real clear sense of lightness. Feel that the more you push the floor away, the more lightness you create in your body. When we're working on inversions, we're forever pushing the floor away. We're not feeling heavy and we're not grounding down. We're actually lifting up as much as we can. And it is this lift that makes us light. In your visualization, see if you can now step into yourself. So where before you might have seen yourself doing an inversion, now start to feel what it is to be in this inversion. So try to become aware of how your hands or your forearms or maybe the hands and the crown of the head are resting down onto the ground, and feel that lift from there, that elevation. Become aware of how the shoulders are stable. Become aware of the activation in your core, very gently, not using up too much energy. Feel how you slightly clench your glutes, your buttocks, and how you activate into your legs, reaching all the way up, and try to feel really that lengthening and that lifting throughout your body. And then slowly letting go of your visualization. Releasing your hands and extending them out. And then slowly coming off your blocks. Moving the blocks out to the side. Bring your hands down onto the ground, tucking your toes and lifting yourself up into a downward facing dog pose. Focusing here onto your hamstrings and releasing into the shoulders. So feel free to find a bit of movement, pedaling off the heels, pedaling off your hands. Coming high up onto your tippy toes and then releasing your heels back down. And doing that again, coming high up onto your tippy toes. And then releasing your heels back down again.
Coming high up onto your tippy toes this time. We're walking our feet all the way forward, staying onto our tippy toes for as long as we can, putting some weight down into the hands, and then slowly release your heels down. Bending your legs so much until the backs of the hands can come down onto the ground. Gently press the backs of the hands down and begin to straighten through your arms. Maybe your arms can be all the way straight. Maybe they can be slightly straight. Maybe they're fairly bent. That's okay. Keep on pressing the back of the hands down into the ground, warming up slightly into the wrists. And then beginning to release your hands and straightening your legs. Bringing your hands now in front, bringing the fingers down, either with bent legs or straight legs. Begin to lean back. So you're getting a nice little stretch and opening into the front of the body. Activate into your core, draw your belly in and feel that stretch into the hamstrings. If your hamstrings are long, then maybe you can lift your toes up off the ground and find an even deeper stretch here, lifting the toes in the direction of your knees. Keep on lengthening the front of the body. So instead of rounding, try to length. And then release your feet down. Bend your legs and slowly peel yourself all the way up into a standing position. Finding your mountain pose here. Taking a couple of breaths. Feel how you are grounded down through your feet. And then become aware how you press through your feet to lift the crown of the head up more in the direction of the ceiling. Exhale here fully on your inhalation, reaching your arms high up overhead. Urdhva on the exhalation, folding yourself forward and down, Uttanasana. We're finding a little bit of a flow to create some heat. Inhale, halfway lift. On the exhalation, bringing your hands down, stepping your left leg all the way back, finding your runner's lunge. Sitting down nice and deep into your hips. Find the length into the front of the body. Taking a deep breath in on the exhalation, finding your straddle forward bend. Hands go on the left side of the mat, reaching forward, opening up into the hamstrings a little bit more. Inhalation is a halfway lift. On the exhalation, walk your hands over to the back of your mat and sitting down nice and deep, lifting the chest up, pushing your weight forward into your left foot. Try to stay onto the fingertips. When you step your left leg all the way back, bringing your hands flat down onto the ground, arriving here into your high plank, activating into your core as much as you can. Coming high up onto the tips of the toes and pressing the shoulders forward just over the tips of the fingers. On your exhalation, push it back downward facing dog pose. Maintain that activation in your core, gently bringing your belly button in the direction of your spine and then pushing the floor away using your hands, imagining here already that you are in, for example, a handstand. Keep on lifting and pushing the sitting bones away from the floor. On your inhalation, lifting up through your right leg. Keep on pushing both your hands firmly down onto the ground, trying to become aware that you're not lifting up through one of your shoulders. On your exhalation, draw your knee into your chest. Bring yourself forward into your high plank and step your right foot forward in between your hands, finding a nice lift. Keep on pushing your weight forward into your right leg. Taking a deep breath in on the exhalation, finding your straddle forward bend. This time the hands are on the right side of the mat. Keep on reaching forward and down, putting weight into the toes. On your inhalation, have a halfway lift. On the exhalation, turning around, back to the left leg. Sitting down nice and deep here. Pressing your fingertips down onto the ground. On the exhalation, step it back, high plank. Once you arrive in your high plank, coming off your fingertips, creating a bit of strength into the fingers. Pressing the knuckles of the hands firmly down onto the ground. And then keep on gripping with your fingers. The knuckles of your fingers themselves come off the ground. On your exhalation, downward facing dog pose. Stretching it out, opening up into the chest, wrapping the upper arms around your ears. On your inhalation, lift your left leg high up. Keep on pressing both your hands firmly down onto the ground. Trying to square the hips as much as you can. And then from there, lift your left leg up. On your exhalation, draw your knee into your chest. Bring yourself forward into your high plank. Step your foot in between your hands, lifting through the chest into your runner's lunge. Taking a deep breath in. On the exhalation, finding Prasarita Padasana, your straddle forward bend. This time, bring your hands as far back as you can and keep on reaching and walking your hands away from you. Putting some weight into the toes to find more opening into the back of the legs. The opening in the back of the legs is mainly useful in our inversions to get into our inversions. The more opening we have, the more length we have into our hamstrings especially, the easier it is to get into our inversions. On your inhalation, have a halfway lift, walking yourself over to the back of the mat, coming back into your runner's lunge. Keep on lifting up through the chest as much as you can. Taking a deep breath in. On the exhalation, step it back, high plank. Bring your hands flat down onto the ground. You find that activation in your core, pushing yourself forward. Tips of the shoulders come more over the tips of the fingers. Exhale, downward facing dog pose. On your inhalation, lifting your left leg high up. Keeping the hips nice and square and keep on pressing the floor away. From there, lift your foot up, maybe a little bit higher. On your exhalation, draw your knee into your chest. Press yourself forward into your high plank. Step your foot in between your hands, back into your runner's lunge. Taking a deep breath in here on your exhalation, find your Prasarita Padasana again, walking your hands back behind you as far as they can go. Keep on reaching and lengthening. The crown of the head reaches down in the direction of the ground, putting more weight into the toes, feeling a deeper opening into the back of the legs. On your next inhalation, have a halfway lift, lengthen the front of the body. On the exhalation, turn yourself back to the front of your mat, sitting down nice and deep into your runner's lunge. Find more opening now into the hips. On your exhalation, bring your hands down. On your inhalation, step your left foot forward. Halfway lift. On your exhalation, moving forward and down. On your inhalation, coming all the way up. Reach and lengthen. On the exhalation, draw your hands into your chest. Samastiti. Inhale, reach your arms high up overhead. On the exhalation, fold yourself forward and down. Inhale is a halfway lift. On the exhalation, bring your hands down. Bend your legs. From here, we're going to see if we can have a little lift of the feet. Doing that 3 times. Pressing the weight into the hands and lifting your feet up. One more time. And then from your lift, see if you can jump it back into your high plank and lower down chaturanga. Inhale, press it up. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, roll it forward. Upward facing dog pose. Reach all the way through the shoulders. Lift the crown of the head up. Exhale, downward facing dog pose. Adjust your position here. Feel how you can push the floor away as much as possible. Keep on reaching here through the shoulders. At the same time, feel that you wrap the upper arms around your cheeks, broadening into the shoulders, protecting the shoulders. Exhale here, fully bend your legs, looking forward in between your thumbs. We're going to have 3 thunderbolt hops. So we're kicking ourselves into the buttocks. So exhale fully, press the floor away. Inhale, kick it up. Exhale, land. Inhale, kick it up. Exhale, land. Inhale, last one. Exhale, land. Inhale, step, jump, or float yourself forward. Land your feet. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward and down. Bend your legs. Inhale, peel yourself all the way up to standing. Exhale, draw your hands into your chest. Samastiti. Taking a couple of breaths here. So it doesn't matter when we're lifting off the ground in our thunderbolt hops
or in our little Lolasana lifts as we do. It doesn't matter how high your knees are or how successful you feel you are. Coming into inversions is just something that we just need to practice. We need to give it time, and over time we will improve. Taking a deep breath in. On the exhalation, release your hands. Inhale, reach it high up. Exhale, fold yourself forward and down. Inhale is a halfway lift. Bring your hands down onto the ground. Glue your knees into your chest and then slowly lift your feet up off the ground. A little Lolasana. Step it back down. And again, inhale, lift. Exhale down. One more time, lift it up. Weight goes into the hands. And then step it back. Inhale, halfway lift. Bring your hands behind your calves. Exhale, fold it forward and down. Draw your belly in as much as you can. Inhale is a halfway lift. Bring your hands down anywhere where they can reach. If your hamstrings are a little bit tighter, you just bend your legs a little bit. Lifting up through the toes. Taking a deep breath in on the exhalation, fold yourself forward and down. Inhale, halfway lift. Now we're going to see if we can jump it back from our Lolasana lift in our Chaturanga or maybe high plank. Chaturanga is where we'd like to go. So lifting up and then shooting your feet back. Inhale, halfway lift. Up dog. Exhale, roll it back. Downward facing dog pose. Planting your feet down, getting that nice reach. If your heels are down, lift up through your toes, lengthening more into the calves and the Achilles tendons. Bending your legs, looking forward in between your thumbs. Plant your hands firmly down. Push the floor away as much as you can. Exhale, fully activating into your core. In your inhalation, thunderbolt, hop it up. Exhale, land. Again, inhale up. Exhale, land. One more time. Inhale up. Press your fingers. Exhale, land. Last one. This time we're jumping it forward. So jump it up. Land your feet as slowly as you can in between your hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward and down. Inhale, coming all the way up. Exhale, draw your hands into your chest, Samasthiti. Take a moment here. You should feel now that your body is starting to create some heat. You should feel a little bit of activation in your core. Taking a deep breath in here. On the exhalation, release your hands. On your inhalation, reach your arms high up overhead. On your exhalation, fold yourself forward and down. Inhale, have a halfway lift. Bring your hands down. Bend your legs if you need to. Transfer your weight into your hands, coming high up onto your tippy toes. See now if your right foot can tap onto your right wrist or maybe your forearm. Plant your toes down off your right foot and do the same on the left. Release your foot back down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bring your hands down, step, jump, or float it back into your Chaturanga. Inhale, lift. Exhale, back. Taking a couple of nice deep breaths into your down dog, opening up into your chest, lengthening into the back of the legs. Again, we're going to find our little thunderbolt hops. So bend your legs, looking forward in between your thumbs. If you can come up into a handstand and you can stay there, you're welcome to stay there, either tucked or with extended legs. Just be aware that the moment you extend your legs, it gets harder to maintain your handstand. Otherwise, you just find a couple of hops trying to find some lightness. On your inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward and down. Inhale, coming all the way up. Exhale, hands in front of your chest. Inhale, reach it high up. Exhale, fold yourself forward and down. Inhale, halfway lift. Bring your hands down. This time we're going to see if we can come onto the tippy toes and then put the weight into our hands and float ourselves a little bit back. Slide your hands back. Do that again. Weight into your hands, high up onto the tippy toes. Float yourself back. Inhale and float. Slide your hands back. Inhale
and float. Finding yourself here at the back of your mat in your straight forward bend. It doesn't matter how you came here, whether or not you had little hops or little floats. It really doesn't matter. Let go of that attachment. What is important is that you show up. That's important in your practice. On your inhalation, have a halfway lift. On the exhalation, fold yourself forward and down. Do that again. Inhale. And exhale. Bringing your hands down onto the ground. Maybe you have to bend your legs. On your inhalation, lift your left leg high up towards the ceiling. Maybe bring your right arm behind your right calf and find your standing splits pose. Your next inhalation lifts you halfway up. Maybe your hands are still down onto the ground, or maybe you can bring your hands into your chest. Your back leg is straight. On your next inhalation, draw your knee all the way up into your chest. Extend your arms high up overhead in a variation of your Urdhva. On your exhalation, draw your hands back into your chest, finding your warrior 3. Taking a deep breath in. On the exhalation, land your hands underneath your shoulders. Lift high up through your left leg. Come onto the tippy toes of your right foot. Maybe this is where you want to stay. Or if you can kick it up for a moment into a handstand. Landing your feet, stepping your left foot a little bit forward. Inhale, a halfway lift. Exhale, fold yourself forward and down. It's the right leg that goes high up. Standing splits. Your left hand can travel to the back of your left shin. Inhale, a halfway lift. Maybe keep your fingertips onto the ground for a little bit longer, or maybe draw your hands into your chest. Feel the activation into your back muscles. Your next inhalation lifts you all the way up. Extend your arms up overhead and draws your right knee into your chest. On your exhalation, kick it back. Warrior 3. Taking a deep breath in here. On the exhalation, land your hands underneath the tips of your shoulders. Lifting high up, put the weight into your arms. Maybe from here again, you'd like to push yourself up into a handstand. You don't have to. You can stay into your standing splits variation. On your exhalation, landing your left hand, stepping your right foot forward in between your hands. Inhale, a halfway lift. Exhale, fold yourself forward and down. Left leg on your inhalation, reach it up, bring your right hand behind your right calf, standing splits. Inhale is your halfway lift, finding your warrior 3. Exhaling here fully, your next inhalation draws you all the way up. The left knee into the chest, the hands high up overhead. On your exhalation, draw your hands back into your chest, warrior 3. Landing your hands underneath the tips of the shoulders. Put all the weight into your hands, lift high up. Maybe from here again, stepping up, jumping up into a handstand. Finding just a position that feels right for you. And then slowly landing either both feet or one foot to the ground. The feet land in between the hands. Last one, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold yourself forward and down. Inhale, it's the right leg that goes high up. Bring your left hand behind your left shin. Keep on kicking the leg high up. On your inhalation, it is a halfway lift. Finding your warrior 3. Exhaling here fully, your next inhalation draws your knee into your chest. Lift your hands high up overhead. On your exhalation, back into your warrior 3. Find that balance, find that stillness in your mind. Landing your hands, they should be near the front of the mat now. Put all the weight into your hands, lifting up high through the right leg. Maybe again, try to see if you can bring yourself up into a handstand. Staying in your standing splits pose. And then slowly landing both your feet down onto the ground. Sinking forward and down. Inhale is a halfway lift. On the exhalation, bend your legs, finding your toe squat. If possible, bringing your hands in front of your chest, finding the lift through the crown of the head, activating into your core. Take a deep breath in on the exhalation slowly, sinking down with your sitting bones as close behind your heel as possible. Bring both hands down onto the ground, lifting both legs up in a variation of your Navasana, not worrying about your balance. Taking a deep breath in on the exhalation slowly, extend yourself, both your legs and your shoulders, reach away from each other. Low boat position, Ardha Navasana. Slowly release your trunk down, lift your legs high up. Keep your hands onto the ground when you lift yourself up in an unsupported shoulder stand. Take a deep breath in. On your exhalation, sink it back down as slow as you can, keeping your feet as high up over your head as possible and coming back into your Ardha Navasana. Bring your hands down onto the ground and pulling yourself up. Navasana. Bending your legs, bringing your feet down, knees out to the side, lifting yourself back up. Toe squat. Take a deep breath in. Bring your hands out in front, slowly sitting down. Bring your hands down, lift your legs up. Variation Navasana, boat pose. Keep your knees in your chest, or bring them as close together as possible. On your exhalation, slowly begin to push your shoulders and your feet away from each other, trying to find as much control as possible. Reaching your hands off the ground if that feels okay. And then slowly lowering your shoulders down when your legs go up in an unsupported shoulder stand, making sure that this feels okay for your shoulders and neck. Slowly releasing yourself back down. Trying to keep your feet as much over your head as possible. Coming back into your low boat. Pulling yourself up. Navasana variation. Keeping your hands down. Bringing your feet down. Push your knees out to the side. Pull yourself forward and up. Toe squat. Take a deep breath in. On the exhalation, find a forward bend, pushing your knees out to the side, resting your elbows down in the direction of the ground. You can rest your heels down into the ground. Sink your head down, releasing any tension in the shoulders and into the back of the neck here. Keep on opening up into the hips. You're welcome to push your knees away from each other as much as possible. Maintaining a little bit of length here into the front of the body. So even though we're rounding into the lower back, we're trying to not fall down, we're trying to lengthen down much more. Exhaling fully on your inhalation, slowly lifting yourself up, keeping your knees apart. We're in a perfect position to play around with our crow pose or our crane pose. The difference between the crow and the crane is the position of the knees and the position of our arms. So for our crow pose, our knees are resting onto our elbows. For our crane pose, our knees are high up into the armpits. So you're welcome to begin with the crow pose, pressing your knees into your elbows or a little bit above your elbows, and then maybe one foot at a time. See if you can find a little bit of lift, a little bit of balance. And if you're comfortable, you can lift both your legs up. Squashing your knees into your elbows or into your upper arms as much as you can. Now, it doesn't feel really comfortable here, and that's perfectly fine. Slowly lowering your legs down. If you were comfortable in your crow, you're welcome to play around next into your crane pose. If you were just finding comfort in your crow, then maybe stay with your crow pose. So for the crane pose, we're extending our arms out. We're lifting our hips now a little bit higher. We're coming high up onto the tips of our toes. The knees go high up into the armpits. From there, we're straightening, keeping our arms straight and lifting ourselves up. Now, this time, the gaze is much more forward than down. Keep on squashing your knees into your armpits, into your upper arms. And then slowly, slowly, Release yourself down. Coming back into your squat, pressing the knees out to the side. Resting the palms to face up. Let your head hang down. Let go of any tension. We're going to try this again. So lifting yourself up. Bring your hands down onto the ground. Whatever variation you're working on, is it crow or is it crane? Just find that variation. Bring your knees high up, either on your elbows or into your armpits, squashing your knees together as much as possible, activating into your core, pushing yourself away from the floor as much as you can, either straightening your arms if you're in crane or keeping them bent in crow. Press your fingertips firmly down onto the ground. Keep on pushing. For another 3, 2, and 1. Slowly lower down. This time we're bringing the knees down onto the ground, keeping the toes tucked for a moment, and releasing into the wrists by turning the hands so that the fingers are pointing towards the knees. Let your head hang down here. A little bit of a yin attitude here, dipping into the chest. We're going to play around here with our inverted crow, and if you'd like to, you can play around also with your headstand from your inverted crow, a tripod headstand, and you can play around with your twisted crow, with your side crow. I'll be talking you through a little flow, but you're welcome to break it up in different pieces that kind of work for you. So you can come into this pose from your crow pose by slowly lowering the crown of the head down, or you can be sitting as I'm sitting now with your knees down onto the ground. We're going to bring the crown of the head down onto the ground. The crown of the head is where you bring your forehead, your hand onto your forehead. The middle finger is where the crown of the head is. We have a tendency to bring too much of our forehead down onto the ground. So it's really the crown of the head. Bring your hands next to your knees. You want to make sure that you can still see your fingertips. Bring the crown of the head down onto the ground, slowly lifting up the knees and landing the knees onto the elbows. Once the knees have landed, we're lifting the feet in the direction of your sitting bones. Keep on pushing your hands into the ground and keep on pressing your elbows towards each other. You're very welcome to stay here, or you can draw your knee into your chest. And from there, slowly, if you're comfortable and if you can do this safely, both for yourself and for your environment, lifting yourself up into your headstand. It should feel like your chin is slightly tucked in a headstand. You're welcome to either stay here or come back into your crow pose, or you can draw your knees back into your chest and find your side crow by bringing your right knee onto your left upper arm and lifting your hips up just from here. Landing again the crown of the head and see if you can lift it back up into your headstand. Not easy to do. And then changing over. Knees into your chest. Landing your left knee onto your right upper arm. See if you can press your fingers into the ground to lift the head up. Landing the head, lifting yourself back up into your tripod headstand. Draw your knees back into your chest, finding your inverted crow pose, landing your knees onto your elbows. Begin to push your hips towards the wall behind you and see if you can unweight your head. Once you're back into your crow, if you've pushed yourself up, stay there for a moment. And from here, you can jump it back into chaturanga, or you can step it back into chaturanga. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, downward facing dog pose. Pedal here slightly through the heels, releasing into the shoulders. And then slowly releasing your knees down onto the ground. Keeping your toes tucked, bring your forehead down onto the ground. Finding a bit of a rabbit variation, so you bring your hands towards the back of the feet, rounding here into the shoulders, softening the shoulders down in the direction of the ground. If you want to find your full rabbit, then you tuck your chin in more and bring the crown of the head down onto the ground. But you don't have to. Find some softness here in the shoulders. That's the most important part. Exhaling here fully on the inhalation, slowly bringing yourself back up, sitting onto your knees into your intense toe stretch. Resting your hands here with the palms facing up, releasing into the wrists for a moment. Taking a deep breath in. On the exhalation, releasing your hands down in front, lifting your hips high up. Exhale fully on your inhalation, lift your right leg high up behind you. On the exhalation, draw your knee into your chest, step your foot forward in between your hands. Your inhalation lifts you up in a crescent lunge pose, finding your Kali Mudra, interlacing your fingers and thumbs, wrapping your upper arms around your cheeks, and sitting down nice and deep into your hips. Taking a deep breath in here. Open up just a little bit more by pushing your belly button away from your right knee. Keep on pressing your left hip in the direction of your right heel. Taking a deep breath in here. On your exhalation, draw your hands into your chest and find here your twist. Keeping your hands in your Kali Mudra. Straightening into the back leg and then push yourself forward into your right foot as much as you can. Exhaling here fully on your inhalation, lift it back up, crescent lunge pose. On the exhalation, open it up, warrior two. Taking a deep breath in here. Exhale, sit just a little bit deeper. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, Trikonasana. Looking up in the direction of your left hand. Trying to find that straight line into the front body. Activating here into your legs and keep on pressing your feet down and towards each other, activating into the insides of the thighs as much as possible. Taking a deep breath in here on the exhalation, bring your hand all the way up overhead, bending into your right leg and find the humble warrior variation, sitting down nice and deep, allowing the hips to open up. Exhale here fully on the inhalation, straightening through your right leg. Bring your right hand to the outside of your foot into your pyramid pose. Extending over the right leg as much as you feel is right for you, opening up more into your hamstring. Exhale here fully on the inhalation, rebend into your leg. This time bring your shoulder underneath your knee. You're wearing your leg as a backpack. Pressing your right foot out to the right side, tucking your left elbow into your waist, and see if you can take flight for a moment in your Ekapada Vinyasa. From here, step it back into your three-legged dog. Reach your right leg higher behind you. Taking a deep breath in on the exhalation, draw your right knee to your left elbow. Step your foot all the way out. Pressing your foot into the ground and pushing your right hand into the ground while you're opening it up here in like a side plank. We're reaching more forward than over, getting some opening into the left side of the body. Wrapping your upper arm around your cheek as much as you can. On your exhalation, bring your hand down. Step it back, three-legged dog. Keep on reaching up here through your heels as much as possible. We're going to magpie swoop it forward. You're very welcome to find a normal vinyasa or a child's pose or just come straight into your downward facing dog pose. On your inhalation, looking forward between the thumbs. Coming high up onto the tippy toes of your left leg. Keep your right leg up. Bend your arms like chaturanga arms. Inhale, reach it up. Upward facing dog pose. Exhale, roll it back. Downward facing dog pose. Taking a moment here, maybe pedaling your heels, finding some reach and length into the back of the legs, or maybe coming down into a child's pose for a moment and rest. Your next inhalation, lift your left leg high up. On the exhalation, draw your knee into your chest and step your foot forward in between your hands. Keep on pressing your weight forward into your left knee. When you lift your arms high up, finding your Kali Mudra, sitting down nice and deep here into your crescent lunge pose. Keep on lifting or pushing the right hip forward in the direction of your left heel. Keep on lifting the chest up and pushing the belly button away from your knee. Take a deep breath in. On the exhalation, find your twist, keeping your hands in your Kali Mudra, tucking your right elbow on the outside of your left knee. Lifting your chest up, but lowering your hips down. Your next inhalation lifts you back up, crescent lunge pose. On the exhalation, open it up, warrior two. Take a deep breath in here. Exhale, sit a little bit deeper. Inhale, straightening through your legs. And exhale, Trikonasana. Most important part of this pose is the opening into the front of the body. The gaze can be up towards your hand or sideways, towards the side of the room. The legs are nice and strong and straight. And we're pressing the feet down into the ground and towards each other to get some activation in the inside of your legs. Taking a deep breath in. On the exhalation, bringing both your hands down, rebending into your left leg and find your humble warrior variation. Sinking down into your hips, bringing your shoulders down, opening deep into the hips. Exhale here fully on the inhalation, straightening through your left leg, bring your left hand on the outside of your leg, finding your pyramid pose. Keep on extending here straight over your left leg. Both legs are strong and straight. Maintain, if possible, that sensation that the legs actually pull towards each other. By doing so, you will feel that you square your hips a little bit more. Exhaling here fully on the inhalation, rebending into your left leg. Bring your arm all the way around. The hand comes back to the outside of the foot, but now the shoulder is underneath the knee. From here, we see if we can play around with our Ekapara. Just a variation here. We're pressing the foot out to the side, and we're tucking the right elbow under. And from there, we see if we can take a little bit of flight. Whenever you're ready, you step or jump it back into your chaturanga. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bring it back. Lifting up through your left leg. So here we're going to see if we can find our magpie swoop. We're keeping the left leg high up, looking in between your thumbs. Taking a deep breath in, coming high up onto the toes of your right foot. On the exhalation, chaturanga arms. Keep your leg up. Inhale, reach it up. Up dog. Exhale, roll it back. Downward facing dog pose. Take a moment here. Taking a deep breath in here. On your exhalation, lowering both your elbows down to the ground, finding your dolphin pose. If you find that your hands have traveled inwards, bring your hand actively in and bring the palms together. Just like this, it will help you to open up into the shoulders a little bit with a bit more ease. If you're comfortable though, you have the opening and the stabilization in your shoulders, you're welcome to keep your hands as high, as wide as your shoulders, as long as your elbows stay as wide as your shoulders. Keep on bending your legs maybe a little bit to push your chest more towards your knees. And then maybe straighten your legs a little bit more. Opening up here deep into the chest. You're welcome to stay here. Or if you feel that you need a rest, feel free to come down into a child's pose. Otherwise, bring your gaze in between your thumbs. We're going to kick it up into a forearm balance. So we're bringing the gaze in between the thumbs. The weight has to be transferred a little bit over towards the hands. Then we're kicking up one leg and see if we can find a balance. Keep on pushing the floor away. The easiest way to balance is to look down, but you're very welcome to play around, to let your head hang down, looking towards the back of the room. And when you feel ready, you land your legs and you come back into a child's pose. Taking a couple of deep breaths here and feeling into the shoulders. When we're in our inversions, we're forever trying to find the position of our hips. As long as we can control the position of our hips, we will be in balance. We often think that it's more about our legs, but it's actually about our hips. That the more core strength we have, both into the lower back and into the front of the body, the easier it is to position your hips in the right spot. Additionally, to get better at our handstands, especially we need to create a lot of strength into the wrists, and we need to create strength into the forearms. Slowly releasing, coming out of our child's pose. Bring our hands down onto the ground, tucking the toes under, finding a little bit more of a balance into our knees. You're welcome to push yourself a little bit more back or push yourself a little bit more forward. The more forward you go, the harder this exercise gets. We're going to come onto our fingertips. The hands itself are off the ground. Now we're not dipping into the fingers and we're also not pressing out of the knuckles. We're trying to find a straight line through our fingers into our hands. From here, we're going to move our weight forward and back. Feel that when the weight moves forward, that you really have to work your fingers. So only go as far forward as you feel that is right. This should feel like it's hard work into the fingers, the hands, and you should probably also feel it in your wrist and into your forearms. Trying to keep your fingers as straight as possible. And I know it's hard because the knuckles of both the fingers and the hands like to bend in, but trying to create that straight line. Doing that 3 more times, moving yourself forward and back and forward and back. And the last one. And then on your back, turn your hands around. Fingers are pointing towards your knees, and then rock yourself forward and back, keeping the fingers down onto the ground, giving yourself a nice stretch into your wrists. The next time in your back, stay there. Know that the further your hands are away from your knees, the stronger this stretch gets. Now, the wrists don't have to be down onto the ground. You're welcome to keep your wrist off the ground. You get a big stretch here into the flexors of the wrists. We need to have a lot of opening into the wrists in order to bring our shoulders in our handstand slightly over the tips of the fingers. Slowly releasing here of your hands and give your hands a nice shake out, releasing into the wrists. And then bringing your hands out in front and opening and closing your hands, working the extensors of the wrists, strengthening them. Now imagine you have water on your fingers and you're flicking it out. Faster you go here, the harder it gets. So just find a pace that is good for you. We're going to do this for another 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. On the inhalation, lift your arms high up overhead. On the exhalation, bring your forehead towards your knees. Reach your arms high up behind. Inhale, coming high up. Exhale down. One more time. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale down. Inhale, reach it back up. We're going to play around for a moment with our handstands. You're very welcome if you're playing around with the wall. You're very welcome to find a wall.
and to kick up into the wall and holding your handstand like that. If you're playing around with being into the middle of the room, you need to make sure that you always know how you get out of your handstand. That is the most important part of finding your handstands. The easiest way to come out of a handstand is using like a cartwheel. So if you would do a cartwheel, you need to know which direction you would cartwheel. Now, I would cartwheel this direction. I would bring my left hand down first and then my right hand. So that means that if I'm in a handstand and I never would go over, I will always move my right hand out in front and turn out like that. I'm going to show this. So when I would be kicking up into a handstand and I would be overbalancing, I would come out just like this. I bring my right hand out in front. It is the hand that you land second in your cartwheel. That's the direction that you twist into. So for your handstand, playing around, if you're playing around into the middle of the room, really grip the floor using the tips of the fingers for your balance. The tips of your fingers are your brakes. The palms of the balls of the hands is kind of where the strength sits. So we have to push through the balls of the hands, through this part of the hands. We have to press that firmly down onto the ground. The moment we feel we go over, we use our brakes, which is the tips of the fingers. If we use too much of the fingers when we're coming up, it is hard to get up. So then we're never going to come up, and we just have to kick up all the time. So we just have to find that balance. Now, finding your balance is just a matter of time. Remember when you were 1, you probably can't remember, me neither. When you were 1 and you were starting to walk, that takes a long time for little kids to learn how to walk. It's the same with your handstand. It takes a long time for you to find your balance. And then you have to remember that you're much taller than you were when you were 1. So it's harder to find your balance. So just be patient and enjoy the process instead of being attached to where you're going to be. So the easiest way I find coming up into a handstand is your thunderbolt hops. And then instead of kicking your legs out, just keeping your tuck. So you rock forward into your hands, you bend your legs. On your inhalation, you kick yourself up, keeping the legs bent and tucked. From here, if you feel comfortable, you're welcome to extend your legs out. Just know that when you extend your legs, to find your balance and to maintain your balance is harder. Landing the same way if you like to, or landing any way you feel right. The other option you have to come up into your handstand is to come into from a standing split, something that we played around with before. In that case, most of the time you have one leg where you have more opening. You're welcome to lift that leg up. You can keep the leg bent or you can extend it out, whatever feels better for you. Now when you come up into your balance, you don't want to bring your legs straight away together. You want to keep your legs into a splits position until you find balance and then maybe straighten out. So coming high up onto the toes of your standing foot, exhale fully on the inhalation, lift yourself up. Standing splits, a splits position, in your handstand. To help you with your balance, if you feel coordinated, then maybe slowly bring your legs together. It gets harder to balance with your legs straight. And then slowly, when you are ready, landing. At any time in your handstand, when you feel pressure into the wrists, bring the backs of the hands together or maybe make some circles with your hands in fists to release into the wrist. There's a lot of pressure into the wrist, a lot of weight into the wrist. Our wrists are not built to carry that weight. So it takes a little bit of time for the wrist to strengthen. The third option that you have is maybe a straddle press, easier than a normal press. For the straddle press, you bring your legs out to the side, bring your hands down onto the ground. So we're going to bring the legs now out and up. Also here, the easiest way to balance is to keep your legs just out instead of bringing them all the way up. So bringing the hands down, transferring the weight into the hands, lifting both feet up. Straddle. If you want to, you can straighten up into your handstand, knowing that your balance is harder to keep there. And you can come down the same way, landing as slowly as possible. And once you are finished with playing around with your handstands, we're going to grab our block
And for a moment, we're going to find a nice release here in our thoracic love pose or our supported fish pose. We're going to bring the block lengthwise, and we're going to lay over the block. The block goes in between the shoulder blades. The back of the head should just rest at the back of the block. Bring your arms up overhead, either in a cactus shape or in a diamond shape. Or if it feels good, you can extend your arms out. The block is pressing into the rhomboids, into that space, the muscles in between the shoulder blades. And you might feel quite a bit of pressure that it might have built up in your handstands, in your inversions. So take a bit of time here to release. You can have your legs extended. You're also welcome to bend your legs, bring your feet together, and find a Baddha Konasana position. Take a moment here to reflect on how you feel. See if you can let go of any judgment that you feel towards your achievements. Trying to let go both of the good and the bad. Trying to only feel what happened. Trying to only get an understanding of areas that you need to work on, areas that you need to open up on, areas that you need to strengthen into. Finding your balance in a handstand is just going to take time. If you want to get good at it, you have to do it a lot. You have to practice. You have to allow your body to adjust, to strengthen, to open up. So let go of any attachment here to where you're at, or where you want to be, or where you should be. Just try to find contentment with where you are. Slowly releasing here, coming off your block. Come to lay onto your back. Bending your legs and gently bending, wind wiping your knees from side to side. Releasing any pressure into the glutes, the outside of your legs. Releasing any pressure into the lower back. And the next time when your knees are over to the right side, keep them there. Swing your body around, so we're going to bring the left hand down onto the ground. And we're going to extend both arms out in front in our peace pose. If you want to release more into your shoulder or give it a deeper stretch, you're welcome to walk your left hand over to the right side. Bring your left cheek down onto the ground and find your twist. Our peace pose. Slowly releasing. Coming back to lay onto your back. Swinging your legs, this time over to the left side. Swinging your trunk all the way over. Either both hands go out in front, or this time the right arm can go over to the left, releasing your right shoulder down and your right cheek down to the ground. And then slowly releasing out of your twist. Coming to lay back onto your back. And from here we're going to find our Shavasana. Our corpse pose at the end of the practice. At the end of each practice we have this opportunity to dissolve our ego. To let go of the stories that we tell ourselves. To let go of the image that we have of ourselves and the things we identify ourselves with. We have this opportunity to just let go, to release and to soften into what is, into our own beingness. Shavasana at the end of each practice is our new beginning. We let go of all the old, of anything that we don't want to carry with us. Making space for change. I invite you to stay in your Shavasana for as long as you feel is good for you. Making sure that you take your time at the end of the practice to settle in and to relax, not feeling rushed, and making sure that when you feel ready to come out of your practice, that you do it with a clear intention for the rest of your day or the rest of your week. Thank you for sharing your practice with me today. With love and gratitude. Namaste.